Hey there YouTube fans, AC Productions here. Are you tired of getting made fun of because of your big bulky turn signal lights that you have on your R3? Getting tired of your friends making fun of you because as you're driving your turn signals are just shaking like this? Or maybe you don't want to have these big bulky sticking out turn signals on your bike. Maybe you just can't find the right turn signals that you're looking for. Maybe they're not made yet, maybe they're on back order, or maybe you're just tired of having shaky, wobbly, vibrating turn signals as you're riding. Or maybe you do like the look of these type of turn signals but wish they were not sticking out so far away from the fairing. Well, today I'm going to show you how to shorten the length of your turn signals so they do not vibrate anymore and wobble around, and they'll be a lot closer to the fairing and not stick out so much. So let's get started. You're going to need an 8mm socket and ratchet, an X-Acto blade, and a pair of some wire snips. If you don't have wire snips, if you have some like needle nose pliers with this little section here to splice wires or cut wire, you may want to use something like that too if you don't have specific wire snips. And you're also going to need a couple of spacers. Doesn't have to be that thick, pretty thin, just 2 of them. So the parts that you're going to, screws that you're going to need to be taken out are this one, that one there, this one down here, this one here, the one over here, bolt here, a bolt over here, then put a little plastic one over here. Also with your Phillips screw bit, you don't need the whole handle, just a little piece, and you're gonna have to take out, there's one on this side and one further in. There's 2 of these, just a small twist and they come right out. Okay, now that you got your fairing off of the bike, what you're gonna need to do is take out the turn signal. And to do that, if you look down the other side, there is this little plastic clip that's actually holding the turn signal in place. So what you need to do is just pop that out. It comes out pretty easy. Slide it off and put it off to the side for now. Now you're just left with this rubber piece. To take this out, just pull it from the other side. You may want to squeeze it from this side just to push it through. Once you get it through, it should come right out. Okay, once you get it out, just pull it all through. Put your fairing off to the side for now. Alright, so now you're just left with your plain turn signal. And if you look inside, there is an 8mm nut. You're going to want to have to take that out. Okay, once you take out that nut, just slide this whole piece out. Slide it about right there and then bring it back. You're going to want to expose this metal piece. Now this is where your wire snips come into play. Instead of just chopping this whole thing, just cut. We're going to reuse it. So just cut a little piece here and then bend it over and then just free the wire. Okay, so once you snip it, twist a little metal piece like that. That way you can just free the wire. So just poke it out and there you go. Now you want to get your pliers and then just put this metal back together. So just get your pliers and then just close the gap here, because you are going to be reusing this piece for this project. Trying to do it with minimal amount of extra parts just to reuse what you have. So it should look like this after you close the little gap. Then you can put this off to the side. Alright, now next you want to grab your turn signal and you got this rubber piece. Now you could actually pull this rubber piece all the way through without actually snipping these connectors and resoldering and avoid all that hassle. So just pull it through and be careful once you get to this part. You want to just pull it through gently. Okay, then you want to put this piece off to the side. You are not going to be reusing this piece, so you could either put it to the side, sell it on eBay, or do whatever you want with it. Alright, so now you're just left with this piece. Now this piece we're going to be putting right back into the fairing. Alright, so you want to grab your fairing and then just feed the cable right through it. And how funny is that this hole is actually the same dimension as this piece over here. It's almost like they wanted you to do this to begin with. So just pop it through and it actually fits really snug in there. So just keep pushing it until it's nice and pretty much almost touching the fairing right there, really. And on the other side it looks like this. So once it's actually, the plastic is flush right here. See if I can get a close-up. Okay, so if you can see on the plastic, as long as the turn signal part is flush with this other part of the plastic, that's when you want to start putting it on your spacers. Okay, so if you remember that you had pulled out that plastic clip that was holding the turn signal in place, what you want to do now is kind of reuse it. Why throw it away when you can reuse it? I'll reuse it as a spacer. There is a hole right here. Just get your X-Acto knife and then just keep on carving out the hole until it's big enough to fit over this whole bolt over here. So I already did that. Just keep on, if you have a drill or something that could widen up this hole with less time, use it. Just be careful not to go too much, because you don't want to damage this piece, and pretty much go to the hardware store and get another spacer. Is no big deal, but like I said, try to minimize on getting extra parts that you really don't need to get. Just reuse what you have. So just keep going little by little, keep testing it out until it fits over nicely. Once you get that done, you go ahead and install it. Okay, so pretty much this is how you want to see when you put this over. You just want to make sure that it fits completely over that whole space right there. It should look like that, and it shouldn't be too loose. You should just have cut just enough to just fit right over there. Alright, and then as far as the other spacers, you also want that just to make sure that it fits over that notch right there. So let's go, if you want, if possible, just take your whole turn signal to the hardware store and then just check every spacer until it fits. You find one that kind of just fits right over that. So it's the ones I found, and I got 2 of them. You may need 3. You just want it to be flush, or maybe just a little bit more upward. That way the nut could actually tighten down onto the turn signal on the fairing. Because if you just put it just flush mount there, it's still going to move around. So you just want to make sure that it's just a little bit above on the screw. Alright, so now you want to grab your spacer from that plastic piece that you had cut out and put it there. Make sure that little notch is kind of holding the cable. Next, you want to grab that little metal piece that you had cut from the edge there, and you put it back. So we're going to be using that also as a spacer. So just put that, actually we're going to put that last. Let's get those other spacers and put those in. So let's get those 2 spacers that you got from the hardware store. Put those on. Should go right over. Now you want to get your pieces that you had snipped before that was holding the whole little bracket in place, and you want to use that also as a spacer. Alright, so put that on over. Next, you want to grab your 8mm nut and then screw everything down. Okay, once you're done tightening down everything, it should look like that. Get a nice side view here, then a side angle. You can see you got your plastic piece, your plastic spacer that you made, your 2 spacers, and that other part that you reused, holding everything in place on that side. And then on this side, see, it's not going anywhere, no more vibration. Alright, so let's just saw that right back onto the bike. Okay, when you put the fairing back onto the bike, the most important part is this front end. You got a couple of notches right here that actually are going to correspond with the headlight. So you just want to make sure that everything is lined up properly. Okay, so those spots that I was showing you on the fairing, there could be one right here, one over here, and one that kind of goes sideways this way. First part of the installation you want to do is make sure you line this piece up first. Okay, once you get your fairing on there, it should look like this. Everything nice and smooth, lined up good. Okay, now at this time you want to plug in your turn signals and then start putting all the bolts and screws back on. Okay, then you also want to make sure that you put that inside plastic piece also. Okay, once you get that plastic piece in, it should look like this. Pretty much almost like how you had it originally. Next is to put the bolt here, a bolt over here, then put a little plastic one over here, and a little plastic one on that little hole right over here too. This one down here, this one here. Okay, now to test the turn signal. Now that we had shortened the turn signals, now they're not sticking out so much. Let's turn on the bike to accessory. And here we are on both sides. Alright, so there is no more wobble anymore. Now they're just more kind of slim to the bike, a little bit more low profile, no more wobble. If you like my videos, please like, subscribe, leave any comments below, and thank you for watching.